to my review for Slingshot, starring Casey Affleck. This is a bit of a psychological thriller, suspense, drama. As far as movie, I definitely recommend going to see this in theaters. It is good enough for you to use your money, go out and see it. I think everybody in the movie did a really amazing job, actually. I don't think any of the acting is bad at all. I was kind of nervous before going to see it because I did look at the reviews and they were kind of unfavorable. And even after seeing it, it kind of doesn't make sense, and that's why I'm glad that I don't always just go off the reviews and I'll go and form my own opinion. I think it was a good movie, and I could understand why some people would say it's not, or be like, oh, I'm giving it like a 2 or 3, because it's not your type of movie. It has to be your type of movie, a psychological thriller. That's really what you have to be ready for when it is all said and done. That is what this movie's about. It's not just going to be space and drama and whatever you think. It is exactly what I said without giving out too much too early right now. But anyway, if you want to go see it, definitely recommend it. If you want to wait until it comes out streaming, that's fine too. Theater atmosphere for space movies always probably going to be better. I can't say that at the house at your home effect will be even similar, because you do have to immerse yourself in a lot of these feelings for space and isolation, and I think that's really cool, actually. I think a lot of themes that they had were really good. I could understand anybody's point of them trying to do too much and juggle it, and maybe that would bring their scores down. That's totally fine, because there was a lot going on. There are a lot of themes and little subtle things that they have going on that they might mention once or twice and not get back to, but it's more of a commentary on isolation and being alone. And I think that's a really cool kind of take that they took with this film. I enjoyed myself very much, though. On a rating scale, I was kind of mulling it over on my drive home, because I just saw this movie probably, if not like 30 to 40 minutes ago, and I think I'm gonna have to give it a 7 out of 10. I really liked it, but there were just some weird stuff, discrepancies, where I was like, okay, well, some of this isn't needed, this isn't needed. You could have taken this out, and we would have still felt that full effect. I think everybody did a good job. I actually love Lawrence Fishburne in this movie. I think that he probably is the one person in the cast that I think is irreplaceable. Casey Affleck did a good job. I just feel like sometimes he was too subtle, and you have to convey, because he does have a big arc within this movie, to kind of starting and ending. Of course, if you go and see it, you'll understand why. But yeah, so if you don't want to see it, click off now. If you do want to, continue watching, and I'll tell you what I think. But anyway, even if you want to click off, comment, like, subscribe, share it. It'd be greatly appreciated, and I love you. But anyway, let's get deeper into it. So you kind of have this astronaut, John, who just gets sent off into space, and they kind of jump in between him already on the ship and then kind of flashbacks between him and his girlfriend, Zoe, played by Emily Bickham. And I'll be honest, Emily Bickham's performance in this, I don't know if it's just personal and I don't like her as an actor, but I felt like they could have got anybody else and been better. I feel like she just didn't really add a whole lot to the movie. Her character and what her character means for Casey Affleck's character is a very, very big deal. And I didn't feel like they were in love. I didn't ever care about their relationship or the romance, because it just didn't even, it doesn't feel or pop on screen. And Casey Affleck, he has a lot of going back and forth about hallucinating that she's on the ship with them, and wanting to go home and be with her. So there's a lot of draw and a lot of motivation for him and her, and I just don't feel like Emily held up her side. Casey Affleck, I think he's a good actor, but I don't think he also did everything in his power to convey that. Like, he was very subtle, and even though he wanted to get chosen for this mission and say that, oh, like, the mission comes first, like, this relationship between us is strictly, like, professional, like, at the end of the day, like, the mission and everything that we were doing work-wise comes first. And I didn't feel that struggle, and that's why I take off a lot of points where I would give it like an 8 or 9 maybe if the romance was actually there and you felt the struggle and the pull between them. But again, there was none. There was more pull. Well, that's actually a lot of pull in the gravitational field of Jupiter, but they just weren't good together. It was not a good couples casting for them. So Lawrence Fishburne, and you guys find out later in the movie that, what's his name? John, Captain Franks, and Nash are all the same person, just kind of like split in the moment of the mission. There are a couple of subtle hints that I actually really, I did pick up on. I didn't put it all together, I'm not gonna lie, and say that I knew the entire time the twist. But there are a lot of hints. I don't remember Zoe's last name at the moment, but when they kept nailing down her last name and like she never asked John for his last name, I thought that was a little weird, and I was like, okay, well, what the hell is John's last name? And I really was questioning that the entire movie. And then there's also the fact that the living quarters in the hibernation pods, you never see anybody get in them except for John or Casey Affleck's character. That to me was the dead giveaway. That kind of was like, because at the point when you're like a little more than halfway through the movie, and Lawrence Fishburne's character pistol whips Frenchie from The Boys. Shout out to him because that was his breakout role. But Topher does a good job in this actually as well. Not Topher. Tomer. Sorry. Tomer Capone. That is the guy who plays Nash. And once you get to that point in the movie and Casey Affleck gets out of hibernation again and he starts looking around for Nash, I really felt like that was the dead giveaway. Either that or the captain put him in airlock, but again, we found out they're all fake, or at least the two of them, and John is the only real one. So a lot of the struggles that they go through, they're pretty good. I think they're drawn out really well and put in a good perspective. I felt as if John should have put it together. I mean, yes, he's like hallucinating all this crap and just like it's messing with his head, and eventually at the end of the movie, like, he kills himself. But I don't know, it seemed a little off for that point, but I still did enjoy it a lot. I think communication wise and everything, that like all the facts about the little radios not being able to communicate past like 100 million miles or something, that Lawrence Fishburne's character said, and just like other little things about the integrity of their ship and communications with Houston and everything. I kind of felt like that was the way that he would have pieced it together, and I was like, oh, okay, like I'm starting to catch on a little bit. But they do a lot of bait and switches to where you think something and then like they were just trying to distract you with that thing. A lot of the bait and switches with John and the communicators, thinking that he's like talking with them, and they draw your attention away, so I think that was done very well. And yeah, definitely a 7 out of 10. For movie price, I would say full movie price for the ticket and everything, but I wouldn't go see it like 2 or 3 times, not like something like Deadpool or an awesome movie. But it was very, very good. I don't expect any Oscar nominations or anything for this. It was just a kind of a feel-good movie for a moment to try and break out and do something different. I really liked the storylines of John's father and kind of how that came back around and how you kind of could relate that to this, because Lawrence Fishburne's character tries to like rectify and say that the Antarctic, or not, it was Alaskan base or whatever, right? Wherever it was in the ice or cold. Forget if it's Antarctica or Alaska. His father, like, being the commander that almost killed everybody, but he was like, oh, we actually have to go, and then the scientist or whatever died of self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Whether that's true or not, at the end of the movie, I think you can kind of put together and agree that John's father kind of died for no reason. They could have made it, but again, it was like 50 miles in the cold. I'm honest that you would have to be almost superhuman to survive 50 miles in the freezing below zero temperature. That's insane to anybody. I enjoyed the moth kind of metaphor throughout the movie, and you do put it together at the very end that the moth metaphor is the only way that John can kind of get out of the situation, even though he was like basically almost done. He was there, except the drugs and everything were taking too much of a toll on him. And yeah, I thought that was cool. So the kind of plot holes I think of, the whole thing about him being in an underground bunker and them trying to do that reveal and switch. If you're John, I feel like you would know that was a lie. Mostly due to, if you were really just underground like that, one, I don't think they would have wasted a bunch of money on a dry test run and put you like 1,000 miles underground with all that equipment, with all this stuff, the whole freaking 9 yards of a space station replica, and the bridge and everything, and all the equipment and everything, the food, the hibernation, because that's the one thing I was like, you can't really fake and you have to acknowledge is true even if you're hallucinating, is the hibernation and the drugs and the effect on you. Realistically, I think someone could acknowledge that, and that then pointing that out to themselves would be the thing that draws them back in and grounds them and helps them. And I just felt like that was unrealistic, that Casey Affleck's character and everything didn't really acknowledge or anything. And there are so many signs for him actually being in space that, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they were going to fake that and be like, oh yeah, you're just underground. Oh yeah, just go out that airlock. And I'm like, dude, you gotta be kidding me. And as soon as she said, oh yeah, just go out the airlock on the radio, I was like, yeah, this is about to end badly. And they switched it up on me when they kind of had as much time that he was walking out of the airlock and the underground facility where it was like collapsing. They almost got me. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe he's about to get his happily ever after, go back, see Zoe, and tell Zoe that he loves her, and, you know, they're going to get out of that. But one of the things that Lawrence Fishburne's character kind of said kept me thinking, I'm like, no, this isn't going to be a happy ending. Even if they would have stayed in that subterranean compartment for the test, I was like, ooh, something's about to crash and fall on him. Like, I just knew that it was going to end badly. I didn't know that he was going to eject himself literally into space. I just thought that was fucking crazy. Like, oh yeah, I don't need a spacesuit. I'm going to trust my hallucinating radio friend. And that was just crazy to me. And then also, even if he was hallucinating and talking to himself and the characters of Lawrence Fishburne and Tomer, it was confirmed that he hallucinates a lot from the radios and everything like that. And if he looked at the computer itself and talked to the computer could have like rectified and been like, oh yeah, here's a recording of you in that room over there, da, 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 and you weren't talking to anybody. Even when you're just talking to Zoe or whatever on the radio, yeah, that was fake. And then he could have asked the computer so many other questions. But anyway, I'm not going to get too deep into it because it was written I think it was written that way on purpose. And I get it what they were trying to go for, but it's just so many moving pieces on this chessboard that it does become overly complicated. And yeah, but it was a great movie. I really did enjoy it. I'll be excited to see what other people say about it, because I just don't understand the like 40% it's getting on like Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb I don't even think has released. Ooh, excuse me.
I'll be leaving town soon.
No, they haven't even had like a rating or anything, so.
No big deal.
But yeah. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, please comment, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it, tell them to watch it. Shoot, I don't care. Tape them down to a chair and make them watch it. I don't care. But I would deeply appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Subscribe, share, like, comment. If you have any other movies that are coming out that you want to see done, or TV shows, I would be down for that as well. But yeah, stay continued, guys. Follow my socials, and I will see you on the next video. Have an amazing day, you beautiful people.